It's nice to have you join us on another splendid episode of Enterprise Friday. You're watching Enterprise Television, and I am Henry Igwebike.
And I'm Choma Okoye.
All right, in a bit, we'll be going to our newspaper headlines to see what we have for you this morning. And right after that will be our main conversation also for today. So I will bring everything all for you. Please do well to belong to our tribe and our community by following us on all our social media platforms at Enterprise TV7 and log on to our website for more information at enterprisetvnews.com. In the studios with us, of course, we have Barrister Vance Ofeli, a Barrister Law and a Public Affairs Analyst, and Emeka Madunago, Journalist and Public Affairs Analyst. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
And welcome to Enterprise TV today. So let's kick off our headline stories, but particularly we have, we're starting on a sad note actually, and that's on the murder of former member representing Anyocha Oshimili, Federal Constituency in the Federal House of Representatives, and former Delta State Lawmaker and Commissioner Joan Mrakpor, ni Joan Mrakpor, aka Ada-Anioma. And it stated here that her body was dumped at Onitsha end of the Niger bridge. And also it was stated here that she was brutalized and tortured before her death. She was actually stripped, and her body was found around 7:30 p.m. on Thursday. Emeka, what's happening here?
Very sad. Very sad. She was a popular politician, a beautiful woman, flamboyant, of course. I think she was under the former administration of the Ifeanyi.
Yeah. Yes.
Like under this administration, she wasn't that prominent. I don't know if she had any position, before she was killed. But it was a woman who, I never met her personally, but I followed her on social media. I think it was someone who had the interests of the people at heart. She was the Director General of Asabakata Territory Development Authority, and from the things I saw, she tried to enforce the regulations, town planning regulations. So I just keep wondering what would have led to this kind of, gruesome attack, on such a woman. Although, well, for a politician, you never can tell, when they have run-ins with opponents within their parties, or political circles, or opponents, or other people. But my condolences to her family and her arrested.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Yes, I wanted to ask a barrister. You're very familiar with Asaba, and it was said that she was kidnapped in her church located off Delta Broadcasting Service (DBS) in Asaba at about 5 p.m. on Tuesday. How does the location itself, is it that so porous that it's easy to come get someone and take off that easily?
Before now, Asaba have been very peaceful. Give it to Koa, even though I'm not a fan of his, and I took him to court. But during Okowa's time in Delta State was very peaceful up to the tail end of his administration. Okay, but right now, so many things are happening in Asaba. Mind you, Asaba is the fastest growing city in Nigeria now, as we speak. Everybody wants to come to Asaba. Land is sold in Asaba for ₦1 billion. As I'm talking to you, Asaba is more expensive than Lagos, but anywhere in Nigeria. Okay, so the influx of people, in Asaba is also, because development and civilization come with a lot of evil and disadvantages. Okay, because it's now an investment destination, whether in real estate, whether in commercials and other activities. So there are a lot of people. Then it has become a target for the men of the underworld. Okay, and coupled with the fact that she was a politician, unfortunately, we are using the past tense. Okay, she was also the husband to the former Attorney General of Delta State. Okay, and all that. So it's a case that calls for a restructuring of the security architecture of Delta State. Because remember, when Asaba was budding, you know, after the return to democracy in 1999, incidences like that happened. You understand? I remember my cousin was robbed. His bike was taken away from him, and they twisted and broke his neck. That was how he was killed. Okay, that was in year 2000. So Asaba was very violent then, but when the Bori government deepened the security architecture, they were able to, the Bori second term, they were able to push them. Then Anambra was very hot. In fact, at that time, Peter Obi had not come in because it was Peter Obi. Yes, it was Peter Obi that really dealt with the security issue there. So we used to have the fallout here into Asaba and all that. And even up until 4 years back, most of the people who live in Onitsha no longer live there. But they have big houses, they can't stay there because of robbers. So they now started moving into Asaba, building and expanding Asaba. Okay? So it's a hot spot. The kidnappers go there to do a lot. But I would have thought that at that time of the day, there should be some level of security roadblocks, checkpoints, okay, that should be able to allay the, perhaps, I wouldn't know whether the protest was part of the program, but the protest was very tough too in Asaba. The build up to it and all that. But the truth is that whichever way we look at it, I have been to some countries, okay, and it does not matter what is going on. The security network of a state or a country, the governors earn so much and they take so much, but they don't invest it in the states. You should be able to have CCTV cameras. You should be able to have trackers. You should be able to have security gadgets that, and more importantly, the response, rapid response when there is crime and criminality in the states. It's usually sometimes low. And because you don't have state police, who should be able to give an account of the environment, scan the environment and know exactly what to do. The federal police ought to do that. But I believe the investigation is ongoing. So I believe that they will be able to get the...
Thank you, Barrister Shirley. But not saying that investigation is ongoing. Investigation that was supposed to have been started when she was kidnapped.
Intelligence.
Yes, it's supposed to have been started when she was kidnapped. Now she's dead. How would they trace it? If they couldn't even trace to find her even when she was alive. Now, aside from that, looking at this from this angle, because you made a comment saying that Asaba now became a place where it becomes a place where development is coming and also a den for some thieves and for some evil persons. Now, are the in-house people who actually perpetrated this crime not using this as a covering to hide the disguise? Let's look at it from this angle, whereby maybe it is an in-house thing. She having an in-house enemy, and they decided to guide or just come under the guise of kidnappers. It's
investigation that will reveal that. You know, what we are doing here is not investigation. Sure. What we are doing here is analysis. Okay, how best can the security forces or agencies manage security in the, not just in Asaba, in Delta, in Ogun, you know, all the states, you know, even in the far north. Okay, how best can you have the conversation on state police? You see, every time we have this, we come to react to it. Okay, we're not saying that if you have state police, you will not have kidnapping, but when you have state police, in a way, it will give more intelligence. It will reduce and it will streamline what you are doing, because you are going to, the place is going to be populated by those who understand the terrain. The rapid response will be faster. Okay, and if the community is very serious about it, we can have electronic gadgets around the city. When you have the electronic gadget, you have the light, the electricity. You know, Nigeria's problem is too much. Nigeria's problem is too much. So we keep managing the situation until things get better, because all over the world, I've not been to anywhere in the world where they're talking about electricity. that people have passed that level a long time ago. So we should be able to advance and then do the needful to ensure that we address our issues effectively.
All right, just before we move on to the next agenda, yes, I wanted to. Yeah.
I'm surprised that she could be ferried across Nigeria, where you have a naval base. There's a naval base in Onitsha. So, I mean, that such a thing could happen, you know, because an official of the state commanding woman was telling me that they are suspecting, you know, some of those non-government, you know, that they are being recent, you know, security reports about, you know, the fact that some of these guys are set up camps around Asaba Marine where sand is dredged, where they dredge sand and all that. So,
but there's no account as to whether they demanded for ransom.
No,
that means they are just assassinated.
They just said that was tortured. She was tortured.
Yes, she was battered. And she was stripped actually when
so you know, maybe it's not. It appears to not have been just a kidnapping, just
business
like that. Other things involved. You know, so it's I think the governments of the two states, you know, Delta and Anambra, maybe they may need to set up a joint security patrol between, because just was it a week ago or 2 weeks ago, some guys were kidnapped somewhere in Anambra, you know, and they were taken around and right in front of people. It's not as if it was an isolated place. They now put 2 of them in the car, took them around and eventually dumped them around midnight, you know, somewhere around
alive or dead.
Second Niger Bridge. Alive. Okay. Second Niger Bridge. So
possibly after ransom has been paid.
You know, they were even the ones that paid the ransom. These guys were businessmen. So they paid the ransom.
Themselves.
Yeah, so they were dumped, you know, around midnight. People that were picked sometime in the afternoon or so. So there is a need for, and it's not right, you know, it's not proper that when you're exiting Delta State, you know, what you see are these characters with spikes. And I see policemen busy, you know, extorting travelers. There is no security awareness.
No security.
When you get, as you're getting to a number from the old Niger Bridge, you see the road safety. There may be sometimes you see the police. But there isn't this situational awareness that, you know, let us take a closer look. And then those guys pass through the river. So even as they pass through the river, was it that the Navy didn't see them? Were there no CCTVs and all of that? So
there's a marine police there too.
There's marine police, yes. Marine police, Nigerian Navy. So why? Why would the waterways become so porous?
And why is that waterways not? Why are there no surveillance security on the waterways? You remember the Nollywood actor that died?
Yes.
Everybody came with accounts, different accounts. Because you don't see, that is what happens when you don't have technology. Everybody will become, one mama will come out and say, no be like that. Now me see I wanna hear it. Another boy will come out and say, no, it didn't go there, it went here. In the 21st century, it's not wrong, it's not right.
Very
so
true.
There should be surveillance camera across that place. If the state cannot manage it, they should get experts and then contract it out. The two states can take care of the contract so that you have that place at every point in time. You have lights on the surface of the sea and you have cameras, surveillance camera on the surface. That's how it's done in civilized countries.
Well, when we talk about the gross ineptitude of those in authority, it's a whole new 2 hours package, you know, if we have the time. But let's move on to the Daily Trust, the newspaper. The big story here says that day 1 of protest, the death destruction in some states. I'll just leave the writer so you can go check that out.
Okay, moving on the top strip. Businesses shut in many states.
Yes, and also on the bottom that I would love us to talk about, kidnappers chase FCT residents from farms, steal 3 bikes. Barrister Vansofeli, at a time when Yeltsin Wike, the FCT minister, is busy, you know, calling all sorts of names, and of course, you know, concentrating his attention on the end bad governance protest. This is happening within his corridor. Are we seeing another a case of ineptitude from another minister?
Well, very well. I mean, Wike started on a very wrong footing as regards the protest, because Wike, Akpabio, and the likes of them, these people must exit them from leadership in this country. Now Wike is calling for dialogue. He was backing, you know, before he asked the protesters to pay money. Asari Dokubo was on one end of the confined to a wheelchair on one side of the country, saying if anybody trying to protest, that he will kill people, he will finish everybody and all that. But you know, the protest started yesterday like a joke. It started like there weren't going to be a protest, and already the persons who made those threats, well, perhaps what their threat is really holding back the people.
So
in the FCT,
yes,
the FCT.
Yeah, because I actually wanted us to look at the story here of the kidnapped farmers and then their bags, of course, getting stolen. So the concentration now is Nyesom Wike looking at the wrong side while he should be better concentrating on what his duties are. Listen,
the government, the FCT minister and the IG of police have been cooking up stories since yesterday. We are not saying it's not possible, but the Jade on channels yesterday put it to the IGP to produce the name and particulars of the policeman that he claimed was killed. That you produce it. They went and take some old videos of some old police person killed, and they were using it to undermine the protest. And why not, if you have criminals who are at the outskirts of Abuja, this is the time but whose fault is it? If you are governing the people, where would they protest? When they gave you a long date for you to take steps to do what you do, what did they do? So if there's any kidnapping, any stealing of crops and all those things, you should know that these are petty thieves. Okay? People who go to a farm and steal corn and all that, then steal Okada and the rest of that, you know that these are criminals you ought to have exterminated even before any protest. And the fact that you have a protest does not mean you should not secure the Abuja, the FCT. So the protesters were very peaceful in Abuja at the beginning. Police now started grandstanding, started using tear gas on them. Okay, who ordered them to use tear gas? So it was after the tear gas, and they ran out of tear gas and they didn't have any other thing to do. And the people now came back at them, chased them, beat some of them up and all that. We saw all the videos. No policeman was killed.
And if you remember 2 days ago, what I said, I was advising the IG to stop dog whistling. Where he said
he keeps threatening people.
There was information that foreign mercenaries, will infiltrate the protest. What happened yesterday? Boko Haram unleashed a bomb attack.
Yes, key 19.
Less than 24 hours after the police claimed they recovered and improvised an explosive device on mobilized Makantoni were indicated. You see, let me tell you. As a young reporter, I saw a lot of horrible things in this controlled military rule. It appears a lot of these fellows, either they have lost a sense of history, or maybe they are receding into senility, or they are just being deliberately, maliciously, using malicious intent against the Nigerian people. Then joking with dangerous things. I will repeat it again to the Federal Police. This dog whistling will not do this nation any good. You don't hear security chiefs in other countries tell you we're expecting, terrorists. They don't do that. If there are such threats, they quietly put them down. But to now come and, give a dog whistle to foreign mercenaries to join in the protest is a very, very dangerous trend. And it has to stop. It has to stop. I hope this, because you have uncovered spaces all around Nigeria, so many. Those guys are busy because in those areas, they have uncovered spaces. They have places they can still do all kinds of things. They are busy there. Please, let's not give these guys the impression that it's possible to actually come into Nigeria and try to fight for space. Even if it is their intention, we can keep the information low and deal with these things quietly.
Okay, thank you, Barrister Philly, and thank you, Emeka Madinago. Now let's get into the last paper on our desk, which is the Punch newspaper. And the big story here, 17 feared killed as firms other count huge losses.
All right. So let's just get to
the big story. Yeah, Dangote refinery took up 1.7 trillion crude monthly. That's coming. That's the reports. And talking about this Dangote refinery took up 1.7 crude. Trillion. Yeah,
liters of crude.
Yeah, 1.7 liters of crude monthly. Yes.
No, 1.7 trillion naira worth of crude.
Yes, monthly.
Yes, monthly.
At what rate?
Now,
because as at Monday, oil price was $82. After the reported killing of those Hamas chiefs, the oil price has inched up slightly. So at what rate?
Now, the president has given the directive that Dangote refinery should get crude from NNPC at
that is a different conversation.
You are talking about pricing.
You are talking about pricing of what? Because when you say 1.7 trillion, you are assuming
what of it?
Right now, there's a crisis globally. There's a crisis in the Middle East. If, for instance, Israel attacks Iran, or Iran attacks Israel, oil price will definitely get to $100. So how do you now adjust for this?
No, I think what the concession they are giving Dangote is irrespective of what price should be. He should be given what he needs. You understand? Now, that is, you see, Tinubu will say run into another crisis. That thing was impossible. This thing, he just stood on his feet. It just, in that fact, don't be surprised, in that fact meeting, he just realized. You understand? He will just say, go and give him that thing. Then later, he will not think about the JV we have, the production sharing quota, the forward sale agreement, all that, which have the capacity to impede that volume. It could impede that volume. So if Dangote is not able to get it now, Dangote will go to town and say the president has ordered that NNPC should make available this, and NNPC is not doing it. They will now start to set up another committee again and start to, because this president does not act like he has statistics. He does not act like he had advisors. He doesn't act like that. He just believes he has a mastery of nothing. Yes, he claims he has a mastery of everything, but he doesn't have mastery of nothing. So I believe, I think perhaps he's guarded on this one, because we've seen the gaps and all that. If he's not guarded again, this will lead to more problems. Like you are talking about that pricing. Now, we can manage it because this thing is from us. Okay, we're not buying it somewhere to say the CBN will now come and say, there's no resources for that. The budgeting is not for that and all that. But since we have it, let them give Dangote what he wants. But then the question I want to ask is this. Now, if Dangote now gets all he wants and is able to produce, at what price is Dangote going to sell? Because, because now we're not transporting it to anywhere and bringing from anywhere. The only thing Dangote will be doing is to drag it from wherever it is to within the country. Now, the cost of that, is it equal to the cost of importing it after you are taking it out? How much are you going to say? Because because I think if government regulate price of PMS when it is brought in from outside the country, it should regulate price of PMS differently from when it is refined within.
Bemrebu said Dangote refinery is no Santa. It's meant for profit making. So when we talk about that, do you think government has any powers to have him regulate his refinery and the product?
No, because pricing have not been completely deregulated.
Yes.
Government still have a hand in. You see, you know why? You know why it cannot be fully regulated? Because you have to factor in landing costs. Okay? In the cost of Dangote now, there's no landing cost. Import landing cost. So you don't have that. All you only have is tax, petroleum tax, maybe company income tax, and the normal revenue that he's expected to pay by law, which every other company pay to. You understand? So that's what I'm saying. So who is talking about the pricing? Who determines what Dangote should now sell? Is Dangote going to be selling at the rate that these other imported ones they need to tell us?
Well, that's another talk for another day, and I just sincerely hope that all of the apathy that Dangote has garnered from Nigerians will not still fall back to what we are all used to, monopoly of that particular sector. Well, that's all we have for this segment of the show today. And Chuma.
Yeah. Thank you, Barrister Ferry, and thank you, Emeka Magnan, for joining us.
My pleasure.
When we return, hashtag End Bad Governance protest enters second day. Stay with us.
Yeah.